Okay, shot of courage for today. We run best when we stay in our own darn lane. Can I say darn on a Christian video? Thank you. Betsy says I can. Do you have something you wish your parents had not given you? Some generational gifts are fantastic. Financial acumen, great. A legacy of faith, an understanding of grace, fantastic. A love of the Beatles, right on. But there are other things too, right? Like a mannerism that is totally your mother, an expression you swore you would not use and you completely use it and then catch your breath because you are now her. Okay, I got calves from my dad, who is a man. I have man calves. Not my cute mom's cheerleader calves. Nope, I got the manly version. They are wider than most thighs. And I'm telling you right now, the skinny jean fad has been a challenge. Not long ago, when we could still brave the world for non-essentials, I went to get a pedicure, which is probably my very favorite thing to do, but I don't do it often, so I'm not a pro. I wore the wrong pants, people. I wore skinny jeans, which are reasonable when pulling on, but let me tell you what happens when you try to push them up and down over man calves. Nothing good happens. The poor person who was trying to help me pull cuffs over my calves broke a sweat. There was grunting. My toenails were really cute, but I'm telling you, I paid a price. Despite my struggles with skinny jeans, I have pretty much come to peace with my calves now that I am in middle age and have to worry instead about wrinkles and failing eyesight and sagging. I'm seeing my calves for what they are, muscles that help me walk around and chase children and do high kicks if I'm really feeling it. I even have a little respect for my calves. In the 80s, for example, my calves helped me endure junior high track. Any junior high track survivors out there? Bets? I ran at my tiny Christian school. We had uniforms that were, shall we say, uninspiring. And our team was so small, everyone had to run everything. I ran all the things, not well, and I threw shot put. Does that clarify how bottom of the barrel things got? I threw shot put. Visualize it. Yeah, pity me and my calves. Even after junior high track, I ran for exercise for many years, and I found that when I ran, I had some interesting ideas about how I appeared to the outside world. While running, for example, I was pretty darn sure I looked like this. Lolo Jones, the Olympian, and I are both Des Moines girls, so we're pretty much the same person. Turns out, in real life and not in my head, when I'm running, I look like this. I really do myself such a favor when I don't even think about Lolo or about Chunker Girl and just run my race, stay in my lane. Here is one way to wreck your experience with grace. Pay more attention to the girl in the next lane. Keep track of her pace, her time, how she looks while she's running her race. Do that for long and you are not only making your own race harder, you're forfeiting grace, giving it up for something cheaper, something flimsy, something that's worthless and steals your life. If you hear nothing else from me today, hear this. God Himself has equipped you for the race you are running. He has made you mama to your kids, wife to your husband, friend to your friends, neighbor to your neighbor. He's made you for this gig, this moment, this life. Don't get sucked into the head swivel. That's what we call it in our house. Super inefficient way to run, and it can be very dangerous. Stay in your lane, the one carved out for you by the God who loves you and knows you, and keep putting one foot in front of the other. I have two examples for this idea, one who did this smashingly well and one who did not. Exhibit A. Anybody know who this is? Her name is Rosie Ruiz, and on April 21, 1980, she won the Boston Marathon in near record time. She was a virtual unknown, just came out of nowhere as a sudden superstar, and people were impressed. She'd barely broken a sweat, her hair still looked 80s awesome, and her time was solid. People were less impressed, however, when officials announced Rosie had taken the subway during the race. She skipped the actual running part and joined in a mile before the end. Rosie claimed she won fair and square, but not one of the 10,000 photos taken of the rest of the race showed Rosie. Rosie lied, and her win was fake. Exhibit B, Edna Rogan, my grandma. My grandma went to be with Jesus in June. She was 96. She was a Spitfire to the end. She, in her 50s, decided to surrender her whole life to God and then just full throttle did it. And I had the distinct honor of watching her walk those last few steps toward home and meeting him. I was watching, and it was sacred to watch this. It was no longer the idea of what it looks like to finish a life well lived, but it was right in front of me, and I was taking notes. And at one point she took my hands and she said, "Am I dying?" And I said, "I think so, Grandma." And she said, "Oh, I've almost finished my race." What a perfect answer to that statement. You are almost done. You have almost finished, and she knew it. Grandma in her last days said over and over, "Thank you, Lord, for your grace and your mercy." And I want that to be my heartbeat, my drumbeat even. I want to finish my race in my lane, and I will waste days and years if I'm swiveling to the left and the right and telling God he should have given me her life or her kids or her job, or wishing away this time for another time, like Rosie, skipping entire sections of my race because I'm just impatient to get to what's not even mine to take. I want to be like Grandma, a woman who ran hard to the end, not perfectly and not without serious bumps and bruises, but who knew her lane and for the most part stuck right to it. You have what it takes to run your race. God has given you what you need, period. You might need to take hold of it or use a different lens to see it, all that provision, but it's there. Let's just plant a flag with Peter, who wrote that God has given us gifts, and we are to use those gifts, individual gifts, to administer grace in its many, many forms. Now more than ever, we need to sink our toes in the truth that we have one sweet, wildly beautiful life, one foot in front of the other, one man calf in front of the other. It's your race. Go run it well.